afternoon, I guess it's good morning, and welcome to Virtual Creation Studio. Today we're representing Atlantic Business Federation, and we have a great guest, Leona Ryder, comes all the way from Nova Scotia, and she's representing Home Equity Bank, and we're going to be talking about something that's really amazing, but very few people know about it, and it's called a chip reverse mortgage. So welcome, Leona. We thank you very much for coming all the way over here and braving the elements, coming to PEI.
Thanks. I love coming to PEI. It's so beautiful here.
That's right. Well, you're at where? Halifax?
I'm at Halifax, yeah. I mean, I cover all of Atlantic Canada, so I cover all the 4 provinces. I do love coming to Charlottetown, though, because it's just so beautiful here.
It is. I have to say, I mean, nothing against Nova Scotia.
No.
There's some nice lakes and stuff like that, and they do have Peggy's Cove, which...
They do.
Just saying.
Yeah, I think the seafood might be better here.
It might be.
I might get in trouble for saying that, Paul.
I do love Lunenburg, though. I have to admit.
Yeah, it is nice.
It actually is pretty good down there. But anyway, between the 2 provinces and 3 provinces, we got it covered. But like I say, we're really excited about PEI Mortgage Services having a really strong relationship with Home Equity Bank, and in particular the chip reverse mortgages. But same as anything else, very few people kind of really understand what reverse mortgage and why people would want to have it. So Leona, I guess the first thing I would probably ask is why somebody would want to have a reverse mortgage?
Yeah, a good question. And the answer to that is actually quite simple. People want to do a reverse mortgage because they are wanting to, a lot of times, consolidate credit card debt. I see a lot of instances where somebody is wanting to pay off that mortgage. So you could have, a couple, let's just use the age of 70, for example, and they still have a mortgage.
Right.
And they're on Canada pension and old age pension. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle to just make your regular payments on the mortgage, and then, of course, the other expenses that come along just with daily living, heat and... if there's a car payment or a life insurance payment in there. So it's a struggle. So a lot of times, Paul, the type of files that I see are situations where they are wanting to pay off that mortgage. We would take over the mortgage, paying it out if it was at another financial institution. And then, of course, that eliminates the mortgage payment. The client does not have to make mortgage payments on a reverse mortgage.
So how old do you have to be?
So the minimum age is 55 years old.
Oh, it's that young.
Yep. Wow. So both parties have to be at least 55 for us to do a reverse mortgage.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and now my understanding is that they don't have to pay the money back, per se. Maybe we can explain that.
Yeah, so they do have to pay the money back to us, but what happens with the reverse mortgage is there are no monthly payments required.
Right.
So if you did a reverse mortgage at age 70, and I use that age because the average age of our customer is 72, even though the minimum age is 55. But the money basically gets paid back to us when the client either decides to sell or when both parties have passed away. So let's just say you had a mortgage, husband and wife had a reverse mortgage, and husband passed away first, then the wife can stay in the property for as long as she wants.
Okay.
So she would stay there until she either decided to sell or until she passed away.
Well, that kind of leads me into the next thing. I mean, you hear these horror stories or whatever they are, but they say, oh, don't get a reverse mortgage because when you die, the bank takes the property. And I know that that's not true, but maybe you can elaborate on really how that came about, that whole misconception, but and really what does happen when a person dies?
Yeah, so that is definitely a misconception, and it is completely untrue. When a client passes away, so before I kind of get to that, the first thing I'll say is when you have a reverse mortgage, the title, the deed, ownership remains with the client. That part is no different than if you did a mortgage with any type of lender.
Right.
And when the client passes away, again, that would be no different having a mortgage anywhere. So when the client passes away, that's when we get our money paid back. So the family will either sell the property to pay back what's owing to us. That's typically a scenario that we will see. Or it might be a situation where the kids say, you know what, we want to keep the house in the family. So they would get a mortgage, or somebody in the family, if they wanted to keep the house, go get a mortgage or get the funds to pay off what is owing to us. But the bottom line is that what's owing to us is paid off, and the remaining money will go to the estate when the property is sold,
Oh, okay.
which, again, that would be no different.
So if they were in a reverse mortgage, say for 10 years,
Yep.
and the value of that property went up proportionally, like in Charlottetown and PEI, the property values have just gone crazy high. So that has no bearing on the reverse mortgage. So if it was signed in 10 years ago, the clients would have to pay that value as of 10 years ago. That doesn't increase based on the value of the home.
So, well, in terms of what the family or the estate or, whatever is left after the balance is paid,
Right.
if that property has gone up in 10 years $100,000, which in some markets in Atlantic
Well, it
Canada
definitely
right
is in
now,
Charlottetown.
yeah, and that's not an unlikely scenario in a lot of markets right now. But however much that property has increased, yes, the value of that does go to the estate or the family, or once the property is sold. So they do take advantage. They do get the benefit of that if the property value has increased, for sure.
Probably in some cases, especially in Prince Edward Island, most of the values have gone up. So chances are the value increase over that period of time would pay for the reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
Not all of it. You can't guarantee that, obviously. But
Yeah. We also have what's called a no negative equity guarantee. And what that means is that if for some reason the client owed us more than what the house is worth,
right.
we would absorb that balance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not something that I have seen a lot, because our loan to value, the amount of money that we will lend to a client is very conservative. We never exceed 55% of the value of the property. So in saying that, even though interest is accumulating on the balance and the client is not making any monthly mortgage payments, because the loan to value was low initially and property values are always going up, the amount of money that they get from the sale of the property
Usually covers it.
usually, I haven't seen any situations in my tenure here of where that hasn't been the case, but
Wow.
I like to kind of talk about that a little bit, because we still have the no negative equity clause.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a way for people to take the equity of their home, use it for what they need, daily living, or adding to their pension, or doing some home improvements or doing some traveling without costing the bank. So it's a fantastic product.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing is how does one go about getting a home equity line of credit or a reverse mortgage?
A reverse mortgage, yeah. So it's actually a very simple process, and the product itself is very simple. There's no monthly mortgage payments required. Interest does accumulate. The clients can make interest payments if they want to.
Okay.
There are some situations where a client, they'll say, yeah, you know what, I'm saving so much money by paying off all these bills that I'm going to make those interest payments.
Wow.
So the interest is not accumulating then,
Yeah.
because they're making it on a monthly basis. If they wanted to apply for a reverse mortgage here on PEI, they can certainly go to the PEI Mortgage Services.ca website.
.com, I think.
.com, yeah. So, and that would, of course, come through to you.
We'll put the link at the bottom of this video, so make sure you check it out. So,
Yeah.
but and the other kind of question that happens from time to time is it locked in for the whole duration? So, say for example, a guy wins the lotto, I don't know, and decides he wants to pay it off early. Is that possible?
Yeah. So another misconception out there is once you have a reverse mortgage, that's it. You can never get out of it. And again, untrue. Having a mortgage with us would be the same as having a mortgage anywhere, in that if you won the lottery, you can pay it out at any time. But depending on where you are in the term, of course, there would be a penalty. No
And if
different.
anybody does win the lottery and they want to come to my office, come in anytime. We'll give you coffee, and yeah, that's not a problem.
Or if they decided to sell the property, sometimes somebody might do a reverse mortgage at age 72, we'll say, and then a couple of years in, they're having some health problems, and they're like, you know what, I think we'd just like to move into an apartment. It's just going to be easier. You can sell the property, you pay back what's owing. Again, if you're locked into a term, you're going to pay the penalty that's owing, but you absolutely can pay it out.
That's fantastic.
It's
It's a great, again, it's a phenomenal product. People, I think there's a little bit of a misconception out there of what the product really is, but we would invite you to call Leona or myself or any of the representatives from PEIMortgageServices.com and just have a discussion on what the pros and cons are. But it certainly is a way for people to take out the equity from their home and use it for day-to-day living without a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
Leona, I really appreciate you coming down to Charlottetown to grace us with your presence. So that's
thanks
fantastic.
for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
So the next time you come in, we'll put a more pressing questions on, but certainly we would invite everybody to go to PEIMortgageServices.com and check out the link there for reverse mortgages by Home Equity Bank. We'll put their little logo on here, and so you know exactly what you're looking for. And we are what's the registration? The reverse mortgage specialists or certified. There's a certification. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, you mean for the mortgage brokers? Yeah, you would be certified, I guess, to discuss reverse mortgages.
Yeah, not certifiable, but certified.
I
So.
don't know.
Okay. Anyway, on that note, we'll leave it alone. Again, thank you for joining us. It's been great, and we invite you to check out the future podcasts at virtualcreationstudio.ca.